Why I'm open sourcing my builds instead of getting patents. A lot of what happens here lives in a strange place between an idea, an experiment, and a finished object. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Most of it mutates along the way. Early on, I assumed that if anything ever turned into a real invention, the responsible thing would be to patent it. That's what you're supposed to do if you take building seriously. Or that's so they say. The deeper I got into hardware, workshop builds, and physical systems, the clearer it became. That path doesn't make much sense for the kind of work I'm doing here. The illusion of protection. Patents are expensive to file and even more expensive to defend. That alone would be manageable if they actually protected small builders. In practice, they mostly protect people who already have lawyers, budgets, and international reach. And if I'm honest, I know I wouldn't be able to afford to enforce a patent even if I had one. And in hardware, especially overseas markets, don't exactly wait for permission. At that point, the patent stops being protection and starts being a stress multiplier. Hardware doesn't sit still long enough. Most of the builds you see here don't sit still. They evolve. They get rebuilt, the parts get swapped, designs get cleaner or messier depending on what I learn along the way. Patents assume a static object. Hardware is a moving target. By the time something is locked in, it's already outdated, or I've learned enough that I'd do it differently anyway. Who the system really serves. I don't think the patent system is evil. I do think it's built for different scale, though. Big companies trade patents like currency. Lawyers are at their beck and call, and then patent trolls thrive on enforcement threats. Independent builders mostly get to pay for the privilege of worrying. That's not a moral judgment, it's just the terrain. Yes, someone could copy this. That's the part people jump to first. And sure, someone could take a design, tweak it, and try to sell it. That risk doesn't disappear just because something is open source. But putting work out there in the open changes the dynamic. The timeline is public, the lineage is visible, and credit is hard to erase when the trail is already there. I'd rather be known as the person who shared the thing than the person who tried to guard it and froze. Ideas are cheap. Iteration isn't. There's no shortage of ideas in this space. None of them exist in a vacuum. What actually matters is how fast you can build, what you learn when it breaks, how you refine it the next time. Locking ideas away doesn't make them stronger, it just isolates them. Building in public is the point. Rabbit Holes of Madness has always been about process, not just outcomes. Open sourcing my builds, hardware designs, and STL files fits that ethos. It lets others learn from the mistakes, adapt things for their own setups, and push ideas into directions I wouldn't have found on my own. The trade-off is real, but so is the upside. Shared knowledge, community feedback, goodwill that compounds over time. This isn't a purity test. I'm not anti-patent, and I'm not saying this is the right move for everyone. This is just the most honest move for me, given the scale I'm working at the kind of work I do in this space to represent. I'd rather keep the doors open, document the weird paths, and let ideas breathe, even if that means giving up a little control. And that's the risk I'm choosing.